Hey everyone, Deplorable Bobby here, and this is the way I see it. I want to thank my subscribers. Most of all, I'm grateful to each and every one of you. I'd like to ask you to leave comments, hit the like button every chance you get, and tap that bell icon so you receive notifications when I'm going live or have posted a video. I try to give shout outs on every video. I start out my shout outs with my PayPal. I've already shouted these people out in a previous video, but I'm going back over the week, and these are two people that I want to give a shout out to right quick. The Great Dirtbag and Boston Girl. I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for your kind and generous donations. It means the world to me, and every dollar gets me closer to DC with Michelle. I want to give a few friends a shout out. I want to thank Spirit Talker. He's been a great help to me. Tony Patriot. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. I talked to Liberty Smith. And I talk to Dangerous Freedom quite often. And I want you to check out all these people if you haven't yet. Disabled Vest Perspective, Forbidden Information, and History Beat. Check them out. Michelle at Forbidden Information and I have partnered. And as most of you know, we're trying our best to get funds to go to DC. I think it's going to be a fantastic pro-life conference. It's a blessing that we already have some senators and other well-named people in DC willing to meet us. So maybe we'll get to ask some of the hard questions. And pray for us. Pray for us that we'll be able to make that trip at the end of August. My PayPal account information is in the link below if you'd like to donate. And any donation, no matter how small, is greatly appreciated. But I want to tell you right now, if you cannot afford to donate to my channel or to Forbidden Information, I just ask that you continue to watch and subscribe, leave comments, and hit the like button. And that's all that we can expect or even ask of our subscribers and our viewers. We'll talk to you a little bit today about Madonna to start with. She's in the news. I also want to remind you before I get started that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock I'll be going live. I'll be doing my live stream tomorrow night at 8 after Disabled Vest Perspective. So tune in to Disabled Vest Perspective at 7 p.m. and he runs just about an hour. I may be a few minutes late. I may be on time. But whenever he's finished, I'll go live and I'll give you my live stream. But I want to talk a little bit about 60-year-old Madonna. And you know the really thing about Madonna, you know, she lives in England. She don't even live in the United States. But yet, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But she wants to sit down with Pope Francis. She wants to let the pontiff know that Jesus supports abortion. Oh, I didn't know that. I just never heard that. I found this very difficult for me to believe. But, you know, Madonna grew up Catholic. But she wants the Vatican to change their stance on reproductive rights for women. Okay. First, let's talk about reproductive rights for women. Sure. Women have a right to decide if they want to have a child or not. But their right ends in the beginning, before the baby is ever conceived. If they don't want to get pregnant, make sure you take birth control and use a condom. I mean, that's double insurance. If you don't want to get pregnant, then that's your reproductive right. But don't get pregnant. Don't get pregnant and then want to abort that poor innocent baby because of convenience for you, or because you just don't want to birth a child. Look, I'm not worried about reproductive rights for women. Women have rights given under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I don't think that they need a special law just to cover them and their choices to murder innocent preborn babies. So, your reproductive rights as women, I respect. But what I respect is the fact that you shouldn't get pregnant. You should take birth control. Let your man use a condom. Or better yet, abstain from sex altogether. But don't murder that preborn baby in your belly when you mess up and get pregnant. You know, there's another good way to make sure that you never get pregnant and never have to have an abortion. Go have yourself sterilized. Look, I don't care if you're sterilized or not. But if you're going to be promiscuous, if you're going to have multiple lovers, or if you're going to have unprotected sex, then why don't you just have your tubes tied and you never have to worry about it again? But no, you would rather keep your female parts intact and murder innocent preborn babies for convenience. I tell you, I don't know. Maybe we get to D.C., maybe I'll get to ask a couple of questions about that, about if we're going to push this R.V. Wade down our throats another 40 years from the Democrats, the least that they can do is, since they have the House, why don't they pass a law that if you have one abortion in the United States, you'll be sterilized. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are a murderer of preborn babies, you should have yourself sterilized. Don't murder the preborns. But Madonna, she grew up Catholic, and she really wants the Vatican to change their stance. I mean, does she really think the Pope is going to listen to her on anything? Well, he might let her sit down and talk to him because she's a famous entertainer. I don't know what kind of music he likes. Maybe he'll let her sing a song for him. I don't know. But I guarantee you, it would be an interesting meeting if he and Madonna ever had a sit-down talk, and I just really don't know if that will ever happen, people. But I do know this. Pope Francis is not going to change his mind on abortion. Then no way in the world can any man convince Pope Francis to change his stance on abortion. I just don't believe it. That is the one thing that I stand with Pope Francis and the Catholic Church on, and that is their abortion laws. Or should I say their anti-abortion laws. You can't be a practicing Catholic in good standing in the church if you are pro-abortion. If you're an abortionist, or if you're up there in our Congress and in the Senate pushing abortion, 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 how can you call yourself a Catholic? As a matter of fact, a couple of bishops, I think it was in Chicago, they really had a problem with these legislatures passing these laws allowing abortion to continue. One of those pastors, should I say, one of those cardinals, has banned these two legislatures from having Holy Communion in his diocese. I think that's a great thing. If you go against the church completely on the abortion stand, then you do not deserve to have the Holy Sacrament of communion. You're not in good standing with the church. You're not in good standing with God. And it doesn't matter about society, because you don't care about society. And evidently you don't care about God. You don't care about your religion. And you don't care about your religious leaders. And you don't mind murdering innocent preborn babies. That's the definition of a demon rat. Plain and simple. Madonna's spoken a lot about being excommunicated from the church over the years, but she says she always wanted to be a nun. Really, Madonna, you always wanted to be a nun. Then why are you this loose cannon that goes around cussing and screaming and calling everybody names, saying you want to blow up the White House, or you thought about blowing up the White House? You should have went to jail for that comment, woman. You're promiscuous. I don't care what you say. You say that you don't drink, you don't do drugs, you don't party. Well, when did you stop? Material girl, you have some of the lowest morals of any human being on this earth. You have absolutely no right to look down your nose at anybody, because you are the scum of the earth. You truly are demon-possessed and evil to your core. And I don't care who likes your music, and I don't care who don't. I personally, Material Girl, could go the rest of my life and never see your face or hear one of your songs ever again. Get it through your head, Madonna. You're a has-been. I know you've got a new tour starting before long, but I pray it's a failure. I pray that God-loving Americans won't even show up for your concert. Oh, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of these demon rat and social justice warriors and these women who push abortion. They're all going to be there with their little pink vagina hats. Oh, you're going to have it, man. So have it. But you'll be having it without me. And I can just about guarantee you can have it without American patriots. She says her connection to Catholicism shows up in all of her work, as everyone has noticed. She says off stage she's a Julie Andrews. Give me a break, Madonna. A Julie Andrews. Really? Really? How many lovers have you had? How many times have you been on stage and made videos where you're showing practically your entire body? You're evil, Madonna. I don't believe your crap for 1 minute, Julie Andrews. My goodness. She's evil. She's a Satanist. She's anti-Trump. She's anti-American. And she repeatedly calls for guns to be illegal in America, and she doesn't even live here. I guess you are in England because they have really strict gun laws, but you're not going to affect us here, lady. You're going to have the NRA and American patriots care less. We couldn't care less what your views are and what your thoughts are or what you want. Madonna, tramp, whore, piece of crap. Stay in England, Madonna, and don't come back to the U.S. since you hate everything good in America. You are truly an enemy of the patriots of American people. I want to talk a little bit about a man by the name of Michael Wilde. He's 30 years old. He denied his crimes of child abuse, which led to the murder of a 22-month-old little toddler named, a beautiful name. People, listen to this, Ella Rose. Isn't that a beautiful name? This 22-month-old toddler was in his care. I'll let you know what happened, people. But Wilde has been sentenced to life in prison for brutally punching the toddler to death. The child died from internal injuries. Wilde had assaulted the little girl on previous occasions when she was left in his care, and with his partner, Charlene Hughes. Well, on January 21st of 2018, Wilde was left for a short time with Ella Rose, and when Hughes returned home from running some errands, she found the little Ella collapsed on the sofa and called paramedics. But the little girl died at the hospital from her severe injuries. Ella Rose's mother is 26-year-old Pagan Glover. Ain't that a terrible name, Pagan? But anyway, Pagan Glover said Hughes was Ella's godmother and a paid caregiver for Ella Rose. In the leading months up to Ella's death, the toddler was taken to the hospital with unexplained bruising several times. Where in the world were these nurses and doctors' heads at when this little girl was taken to the hospital because of her massive bruising on her body? Why was this not reported to the Department of Family and Children's Services? Why was it not reported to the local police department? Why did this hospital, why did they allow them to take that little girl home? That baby should never have left the hospital with that woman ever again. Because believe me, people, she's the one that put that little girl in the hands of this murderer. And she did it over and over again, even after she had to take her to the hospital because of her massive bruising on her body. But yet she continued to let these demons take care of that little girl. This is a good name too. Judge Justice King said the killing of Ella Rose was a culmination of a course of conduct by Wilde going back many, many months. This was not the first time it happened. It had happened repeatedly, people, to this little girl, and neither Wilde or his girlfriend or the baby's mother did anything. And when the mother did take her to the hospital did nothing. So what does this mother do? She just gives the child right back to Wilde and Hughes so he could beat her baby to death. You know, the judge said that he has no doubt in his mind that the toddler died from punches to her stomach, causing internal injuries and death. Can you believe this, people? A grown man punching a 22-month-old little girl to death. There is no crime she could have ever committed to deserve that. No child deserves abuse. But this, my Lord, punching her to death. And then leaving her to lay on the couch to be found by your girlfriend. Well, yeah, she called paramedics, but it did no good. The little girl died before she got to the hospital. Murderer? Murder conspiracy? What else can they be charged with? You know, Hughes was the girlfriend, and she was also found guilty of causing the death of the child and 2 counts of perverting the course of justice, and will be sentenced next week. Well, this demon that killed this little girl got life in prison. That's where he belongs. This Michael Wilde, he deserves to rot in prison. Personally, I think he already got the death penalty. And hopefully, he's going to have a very hard time in prison. Because from what I understand, I've never been to prison. I've never been to jail. But I have family members who spent quite a long time in prison. And they say that there's certain people in prison that don't have a very good time of it. And that's usually child abusers, child murderers, child rapists. Any of those that would harm our children. Or their mothers. These people have a especially difficult time because they're ostracized. They're often beat up. Many times they have to go into protective custody and be segregated from the population in prison because they're going to kill him. Even criminals of the highest order. most don't believe in harming little children. And I guarantee you, they're not going to stand by and tolerate it. Do you remember Jeffrey Dahmer? Well, the people he abused and killed weren't little. You know, they were minors, somewhere around the ages of 16 and up to 20. But you know, he was convicted of killing these men and devouring their bodies. He was a pedivore as well as a murderer. He didn't last very long in prison. He was in protective custody for a while, and he wasn't in regular population but a really short time until somebody took a broomstick and beat him to death. And that's what he deserved. And Wild, I'm telling you right now that I pray that that's the treatment you and all of those who harm our children receive in prison. I hope it is the worst time of your life, and I hope you endure a lifetime of misery. People, I've gone on long enough. My name's Deplorable Bobby, and this is the way I see it. People, remember our children in the womb. Pray for our children, the exploited, the trafficked, the abused, the sexually abused, and as in Jeffrey Dahmer's case, the devoured. Pray for each other. Pray for our president. Pray for this channel, and pray for me and Michelle. I'll talk to you later. And I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Talk to you then. Have a good day.